I'm Kate, one of the trainers and fighters here at the Portland Boxing Club. And today I wanted to talk a little bit more about feinting. So if you're not familiar with the term, feinting is essentially a deceptive movement for your opponent. So if you're boxing, you can act like you're going to throw a punch or act like you're going to move in a certain direction and then do something else. So what you're trying to do with a feint is prompt a response from your opponent. So if you feint, for example, a jab, you're going to foresee what they would typically respond to that jab with, which is often going to be a jab of their own or catching yours and throwing their own. So you're trying to see what they're going to do. So I took a couple of feints to kind of anticipate their response. And then you're going to throw something that they're not expecting. So for example, you might feint a punch to the head, but then you actually really throw a punch to the body. So we'll go over a few different methods of feinting. And it's a really great thing to add to your repertoire. And as always, you really need to incorporate it into your shadow boxing, your work on the heavy bag, and all of that if you want to actually see it in your sparring and your fights. As with anything else in boxing, you have to practice it. Otherwise, you're not going to do it. So we'll start with something really simple, feinting a jab. So if I'm in my stance, I might do something like just start throwing the punch, right? It can be just a little twitch of the glove. You'll notice that I'm also moving my feet because you have to make it seem realistic, right? Your opponent will know if you're too lazy with your feint. So you want to start a feint just like you would actually start that movement if you were going to really execute it. So I might just do a little twitch, and then, for example, I might throw a straight to the body or something, because that's going to draw your opponent's guard up to protect from the feint, and then the body is even more open and accessible for you as a target. You could feint the backhand as well. It doesn't just have to be the front hand. You might feint a right hand and then throw a hook to the body, or feint a right hand and come around top with a hook. So there's all different options for you there. You can feint to the body and go to the head, of course. You can feint the jab to the body and come up top with a cross, or feint the jab to the body and come up top with a hook, going around. You can feint with the feet. So maybe you're going and you want to actually travel in this direction. You can feint your feet so that your opponent thinks you're going to go to your left, but really go to your right. So, traveling this way. You can, of course, do it the other way as well. Perhaps you're going to step and then actually move over to your left. You can feint with the head. Maybe you just tilt the head downward as if you're going to go to the body, right? Subtle movements like that. If you're fighting a skilled fighter, they know what they're looking for. They know the subtle movements that indicate what you're about to do. That's what we train for as boxers. So you can just tilt your head down as if you're going to go to the body, but then come up top. You can feint using your breath, right? A lot of us, when we box, we're using our breath. We're doing these strong exhalations out. So your opponent might know that if you make a sh sound, that's typically something that is going to be followed with a punch or is going to go along with a punch. You can feint an exhale sh, and then actually come right after it, just a split second after, and that's enough so that they've moved to protect against the shot that they think is coming, but really you've thrown off their timing and their rhythm. So again, as with anything, you have to practice this. You want to go through this in your shadow boxing. You want to incorporate your feints on the heavy bag, and then it will start transitioning into your sparring and into your fights. So get creative with it. I would spend a lot of time playing around, right? Everyone's feints are a little bit different. It depends on your style of boxing. So try feinting anything. You can feint uppercuts, right? And actually come with the hook up top. You can feint anything. If you can do it, you can feint it. So play around with it, practice it. It actually can be quite tiring because it's these fast twitch movements followed by an actual execution of a punch or combination. So you have to practice it and get that stamina up. So I look forward to seeing what feints you all come up with.